All right, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. This is another bonus I'm releasing for this particular episode for my show, Nichel Anderson Short Stories and Beyond. I'm your host, Nichel Anderson. And thank you so much. Happy summer. I'm on summer break. So speaking of that, this particular summer, last year I did like 2 episodes a month. This year I want to change it and we're just releasing one time. But of course that one time, since I had to get caught up with my director clip notes, I'm releasing 2 times. Not 2 times. I'm releasing one time a month, but you get pretty much two episodes in one day. And going forward, I should be caught up because I'm reducing my release podcast regular season. And of course, my regular season is from September of the current year, which is 2019, for example, and then to May of the following year, which would be, in this case, 2020. And that starts in September, and that date is September the 9th. Now, I'm going to have to get really good in providing those dates because it's not going to be every week. It's going to be bi-monthly or bi-weekly. So pretty much every other week, but definitely 2 times a week at the end of the day. And that will help me because I'm trying to do some other things. It's been really, I'm going to get into that here, what I'm talking about my season 2. And of course, I have plans to release talking about my plans for going forward for season 3 and beyond. But yeah, so, just kind of roll that out. I did release a bonus, but just to kind of iterate on that. And let's get started with this one. So we have review of season 2. And in this particular one, I just got some questions that I have here I'm going to answer. The first question, it says, what did I enjoy? What did I enjoy most of the season 2? Well, all of it. I loved the part that I had got more opportunities to to write more about the Orion. So we learned about Heni. I felt I could just feel their whole world and their whole existence. It's many layers with Orion. So I'm looking very forward to divulging in that. In the book, I got glimpse of it through Nahar, but not much. So I'm very glad to be able to do that. Learning about Heni, learning about Echo. I'm really curious about if you got the chance, or if not, check out the last finale episode from season 2. That was on last week of May, that Monday. And I got the opportunity to feel through when the 2 made that comment to Heni. Are they brothers or are they just really close? It definitely felt like that Heni and Echo is more best friends, more close than the 2. But are they related? I'm not sure, but I was curious why that came through is that. And another thing you have to remember, if you have read the book, and I have did the episodes, Kishi comes out as one of the Orions. I'm still trying to figure out. Echo's definitely not going to be, it's not in the picture at this time, as you can see where that's going. But at any rate, I'm curious about when Kashi would come through. When would I know his connection? I knew when I wrote the book, his father or someone above him, he was working for someone, of course, with power that could be still Heni. But I haven't connected that dots, and I am looking forward to finding that out. But at any rate, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed it. I was able to further, kind of, not really too much, but kind of give some glimpse into Ezra's life as the high herbalist. We didn't do that as much. I think he came on the scene, kind of see his role as a high priest, as a herbalist, scientist, so forth. One of the leaders, he's definitely high up into the school of thought, to the mystics. Definitely, that's what I felt in this season 2. So I was happy to do that. And I didn't get to spend too much time with Queen Hagar and Princess Hannah. I missed that, but it seemed like so much was going on that I had to focus on the Heni and the next move and to try to contact and conquer Natu. Season 3 is still not coming through overall what's going to happen after I finish the future series of Nahar and Princess Amina. More about that later, but yeah. So that was mostly, and then General Tulkhan, by far, he is my favorite character. Oh my goodness, because he does not play. You would definitely, during this timeline, you're going to see more of General Tulkhan. He will be, that's what I feel. So now let's talk about the next question here. It says, what do I feel about the missed opportunities or the things I would change? Again, it would be Princess Hannah and more Princess Hannah and then Queen Hagar. Just ran out of time, so that was some of the missed opportunities, as well as to find out because some of it was not revealed. Hani, before he made that decision, I didn't get to indulge more of who made that call, really made that call for him to go, or was it just him to do it. And you didn't get to know where we were talking about the Akuns, and we were talking about Enlil and Najar. That didn't really get to reveal. Most of that is put out to premium content. In the future it can happen that I can reveal most of that. But I think by far it would be Princess Hannah. I didn't get a chance to really bring that about, but I have plans to do so with her because I love writing about her. She's so sweet, wonderful in that sense. So let's talk about the next question I have here. It says, what was the most exciting podcast episode from season 2? By far it is General Tulkan. Okay, I know I have to do my other one picking the particular episode, but by far that one, by far it was ruling, and because General Tulkan speaks to truth. That was episode 48, I believe, there. And then the other one was Rulin and Elder Tahib in episode 31, in the Sudan, many secrets run deep to the afar. So that was awesome. That was the most exciting, and of course the last finale. You got to check that out. I didn't have time to do the video with that. Maybe now, since I'm doing like bi-weekly, I have more time. I could do more video type of releases along with my audio, so you get the overall experience. I did it a couple times my first year, but the second year I just got really busy, and my main goal is to make sure I'm releasing this on time. So, and I love my December short of the shorts because you get the full short, no clip snippet, and I loved it. I'm going to definitely do that again. Not sure when, but I will. Even though we're talking mostly about MOLIAE, Atlantis was awesome. I got a lot of downloads from there. A lot of on my social page for MOLIAE. A lot of people really connect with that. When I was just highlighting that will be coming in February. And of course, Mahogany. I got a lot of downloads in that sense. A lot of people was interested in that. So that was overall some of my best podcasts. But yeah, General Tulkan, I have to give him the award to him. He is by far the best. That line just came through. I'm gonna be honest with you, I played it a couple times because I'm thinking, that's good. And I'm not just saying it to be saying it, but hey, sometimes you just gotta tell the truth. That was a good line. And he was just saying, oh no, tell them to step back. Tell them to stand down. Tell them to step back. Oh, I will end you this moment. And the two said, stand down. I got to get into that episode later. I don't think, it's not on my list yet. That's going to come the next release when we talk about in July. But that is, oh my goodness. Love that scene, okay? Like, he don't care, whatever. That's when you get to the point in life that is no turning around because you've been through all that crap, and you're not going backwards, you're going forward. So that means I got to go through you, so be it. That means it might be a risk that I fall, so be it. The main point is I'm going through you. So now you decide what you want to do. Man, please, that was some testosterone, man. He ain't playing. General Tulkan, man. Ooh, I just can't wait because that scene too. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself, but it was a scene when they go and rescue General Tulkan with King Kohan and King Milan, and it's it's a kind of conversation. They was friends. They have been friends. They know one another. I would love to see hopefully that come through, and I can write it and put it out there of what that whole history was. Because I know one thing: General Tulkan ain't no joke. Okay. Like Milan, they don't care. Okay, so let's move on to where I said here. Let's the next one of the highest and popular episodes. Let's see. It was definitely the special bonuses releases for season 2. It was Mahogany, as I mentioned earlier. It was Atlantis, which I'm looking forward to that, and people really dig that. So I have big plans for that production, Atlantis, and of course MOLIAE. And some of those out of MOLIAE, I would say, would be 51 and 49. And 51 episode was released on May the 20th, and it was entitled "When the Dawn Takes Over, the Kingo Rays." I don't know if it was just the title as well, but I have to tell you, people really dig that. They loved it. Some of the highlights from that, it was entitled saying King Milan, he read the message, right? He looked up to King Kohan, and he said, there has been a change in the direction of the now. They sent Hani to enter our domain of Tamat. Everyone in the small enclosed area looked speechless and was like, they must knew who Hani represented, where he's from. So King Kohan, remember, King Kohan would be the future stepfather for King Dama, right? And right on Tamat for King Daniel. And so King Kohan asked, well, what is your choice of this and mean for why? And so King Milan shook his head as, thoughts ran back and forth of what he going to do. And King Milan just basically said, I must return back to Mitsrayim before the next dawn for the Abstar. So for those that heard King Milan spoke those words, engulfed them as well of his decision, and they all stepped back to absorb what will be soon. And I think it was a wonderful lead up to what would happen next, but it was an important moment where King Milan is absorbing the reality of someone from another is coming into the domain of Tamat. Because, you have to have galactical rules and regulations, as we say. And it was just a powerful moment. So that really resonated, especially on our Facebook page. A lot of people like that. Next one was actually, I said 41, but actually, it's going to be, I'm looking at this, it's saying 48, which I just talked about, General Tucker Speaks to. So I'm not going to go over that because we'll do a review. But that was a very interesting and exciting type of podcast that was popular. And episode 46 was Hani Enters the Domain of Tamat. I really love that one. And some of those things that came through, you got to go and check that one out as well. I will have the links to this. And for this one right here, you have... This is a good scene in it where I'm reading this, where I'm saying Hani, he entered from the dome into the area that would be the west of Africa, what we're calling it Sudan at that time. And so he was immediately introduced to an informant that, of course, betraying his tribal leader to get into a leadership position and to power. And so Hani was introduced. And see, Hani came to, not giving too much to spoil anything if you haven't started from the beginning from season 2 to forward, but Hani came to do two things: to help Lanko to capture Natu and to definitely find his friend. So they must be old comrades, on the battlefield before, and he have this informant that's willing to help them to betray one of the tribal leaders that's been helping Natu. So Hani asks, where is Natu? As one of his highest guards, open a compartment of this chest of jewels. And that's how they translating information. We'll give you money. In that time, it was jewels, or it was, diamonds, rubies, whatever. The tribal man Beam, he is on the coast of Zimbabwe, or near Zimbabwe, you should say. He knows of another Orion is approaching. And he interrupted and said, we know of him. They're talking about Lanko. And he know that they made an alliance, he said, to give you our first alliance for your knowledge. Where does Oteen was the one that back in season 1 showed Natu that they had captured. They found a captured Mitsrayim soldier, and it was going to be mighty. And Natu didn't believe it. And then when Natu found out, fast forward, Natu brought that to Echo. And Echo said, heck no, you're going to sit over there. That's too much moving in it, and people going to be talking, and you can't really hide a Mitsrayim too long. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to just... But Natu felt this was his way to rise up in power, and Echo was wrong. And that's what led, and he was right. They found out his location, and King Milan took care of Echo in the last episode in season 1. And so the tribal man at this time was saying he was hesitant. He said, we're all of the man tribal leaders in the eastern part of the Sudan meeting up to the rulers of the Sudan. That's where they're at right now. So the tribal man said that, trying to reinforce that he's not sure what happened to Echo. They think he didn't make it out. And Hani, I mentioned he stared at the tribal man for a long moment. So that's when you know that they have been friends for a long time, and it was hitting him, Hani, that he would not see his friend again. And with that, he still nodded to his attendant. Go ahead and hand this particular tribal man, this informant, 1 jewel. So pay him for the information that he got. But then the tribal man seemed to reveal something else as he was admiring this jewel, right? And said that where there is someone deep in the region that has been speaking of sights from afar before, beyond that ridge, as someone of them were found. And Hani quickly looked at him and said, take us there. And then it ended. I love that scene because he reveals so much. And in my notes here, I have it here about how you can see the connection to Hani and his authority over his, subordinates, these lieutenants or kind of commanders or generals, what have you. And that, but he still connects on the way that you will come and get your own, no matter what, no matter the risk, because we do find out later by the last episode of season 2 that it was a big risk, and it violated some type of regulations or rule on Tamat with others coming in that that's not the right protocol, and it can open up a whole can of worms. But you go into the territory that is going to be not as friendly, and you might not return, but you do it anyway for the goodness or for the primary objective, and that is to save a friend and to help a friend. And he was willing to do that, and that's why he said, take us there. So he's going further into a territorial terrain of Tamat that, he should not, but he does have the resources because he came there with a lot of soldiers. And so that was one of my favorite. Anyway, that wraps up my view of mainly of season 2. Check out, I will announce more what I have plans for my podcast going in season 3 next year, which starts September the 9th. So my next release will be July the 15th next month for my summer, where I'm taking my break. So please, if you like this podcast, share it. Thank you again for those that bought my books. I did notice that when I finally had time to look at my notice from my publisher, so I am very appreciative of that. Y'all been buying Mitsrayim and Corporate America. So if you like it, tell someone about my books, and that does help. And it does give me good feeling that people are listening to my podcast and they are actually purchasing my book. So I want to focus on other projects as well that ties into this, on what I'm doing now with my podcast and beyond. And that does give me a good thumbs up that I'm doing it right and people like it, and I need to continue to do it. So I do see that message from you. So I just want to say a big thank you so much. And especially when I said to share it, that means catch on, because the last couple of weeks of my podcast season 2, a lot of people were sharing my Facebook posting on MOLIAE. So that really does makes a difference in the world. So I just want to say a big thank you, and I look forward to talking to you again, which will be next month, and definitely looking forward to season 3 that I'm going to talk about more. So thank you for supporting me for this last season, and I'm looking forward to the future. All right, of my podcast. Thank you so much. Have a good summer.